Welcome to another episode of Me, Myself, and Flint. And no, you are not seeing me, you're seeing me drive. This is the Mobile Pod Lab, and this is your host Flint, aka Sean. Anyway, I figured I'd get on here real quick and talk to y'all, and I think I'm going to try to start doing this as a weekly thing, as get on here, or a daily thing. So, I've had issues with deciding how I wanted to do this, whether I wanted to, once I started out, I thought, hey, I'm going to do this on Mondays. Well, I did an episode on Sunday, an episode on Monday, then I did like the first 4 episodes, then didn't do one for, I guess, nearly a month, because I couldn't really decide on what I wanted to talk about. I was struggling with topic ideas, and so I just figured I'd get on here, and whether I've got something to talk about or not, hey, we'll just chit chat. So, with that said, I have been kind of thinking about something a little bit. I don't remember if I mentioned that I was on the fire department and everything, outside of what I've done for what I'm doing for work. So I'm on a volunteer fire department, and I'm actually a fully certified firefighter. And one thing that I've been asked before is if I was scared, if going into fire scared me and everything. And honestly, no. I've had times where, I'm like, oh crap, that's not good, but really being scared, I've not really been scared of doing what I do. And that's kind of how I go through my life. Yeah, I have things that, sorry guys, I got a police officer coming past me. There he goes. Anyway, state trooper. But I've had times where throughout my life, I've had times that I've been scared or something scared me, but really having a deep fear about something, not really. I'm not enthused about like heights and stuff, but to get over my fear of heights, I did rappelling. One of the classes I took from some of my fire department training was a rappelling class. And I was scared to death of falling, but once I did it, I was like, okay, I can do this. I know I can do this. It was that initial rush that scared me, going over the edge. And I've got to where in my life I'm always on the edge of doing stuff. It's just, I guess, who I am. I'm kind of spontaneous. I don't do things that well, I guess I do things that might kill me. I was about to say I don't do anything that possibly kill me, but that would have been a lie because I do firefighting that's impossible death sentence. But anyway, yeah. With that, I guess the reason I try not to fear too much, or I don't really have a lot of fears, is because I have my faith in God, and I know that He's watching out for me. And I kind of talked about it a little bit. I've been struggling with my faith in God and everything. No, I guess I'm struggling more with not knowing where I need to be or what I'm supposed to do. I'm one of these people. I'm more straightforward as far as, hey, you need to do this and you don't need to do that. But I've tried to do the best I can. Sorry for the little thing swinging in the mirror or in the screen. I got a big footprint. Bigfoot footprint that's hanging from my mirror. But I know I'm struggling with my faith and struggling with being more active in my beliefs and everything. And I'm trying to do the best I can, but I still have the faith that God will protect me from what I'm doing. Protect me from, harm and danger and everything. So I don't fear going into a fire. I don't fear things that, I take precautions like with rappelling. I've got the harness, I've got the ropes, whatever I need, to be safe. Like firefighting, I've got the gear that I need to go into a fire. And I know I've got people behind me to help me out if I need help. But all in all, it's just, I guess I struggle with a lot of things, but I don't know, I kind of shifting gears a little bit. I got to thinking about some stuff earlier today because I've come across people that, say that you have to be at the church building every time the doors are open, or every Sunday morning or Sunday evening you have to be at the church. That you're not really worshiping God if you're not at a church. And honestly, I kind of disagree with that. Because God said, where two or more are gathered together, so there shall I be. And where that's found at, I can't tell you off the top of my head, but it's one of them things that I don't necessarily believe that you have to be in a building. God's not just in the building, and that's one reason I kind of wanted to have my camera facing the direction I'm going with the scenery that's around me. I'm not against meeting in a building, worshiping in a building, and I don't want you to get me wrong on that. I do go to church, like I went to church last Sunday. Or this past Sunday. And yes, I went to the church building and met with fellow Christians and everything. But here's the thing. As we're going down the road here, look at the beauty that's around us. Being in a building, you don't see this. You don't see all the beauty that surrounds us. All you see are 4 walls and a guy up there preaching. There's times where, like Crystal and I, we'll be out or we'll have a busy weekend or whatever, and we'll stay home and go out. We'll go out to like Woolly Hollow or Petit Jean or one of these state parks. Go up to Heber or wherever and just get out in nature. And honestly, I feel closer to God when I'm in nature. Guys, it's something about just being out where seeing what God created. And there's times I'll go outside barefoot and just feel the grass, feel the earth under my feet, feel the wind on my face, and everything. How can you get that from being in a building? You can't. So you can't tell me that I have to be in a building every single Sunday, because God's not confined to a building. He's not confined to this world. He's created the universe. So, with that being said and everything, I consider myself a open-minded Christian, meaning that when I say that, when I say I'm an open-minded Christian, I believe in the supernatural and the paranormal stuff. Here's part of the reason is because if you're a Christian and you base your beliefs on the Bible, what is the most supernatural book you'll ever read? It's the Bible. You've got, seas being parted, letting millions of people cross. There's a cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night guiding these people. You've got people being raised from the dead. You've got I believe it's Saul calling one of the going to like a soothsayer or whatever, bringing a prophet back from the dead. It brought his spirit back from the dead so he could speak to him. You've got Jesus walking on the water. I mean, it's the most supernatural book you'll ever read, and we based our beliefs on that. Now, with that said, I do believe in ghosts, and because it's not because I just want to believe in them, but the Bible talks about, like I just said, Saul bringing a prophet back from the dead, bringing the prophet's spirit back from the dead. When Jesus walked on the water, the apostles thought that he was a ghost. When he got to their boat, he said, "It's me." He didn't say, "No, there's no such thing as ghosts." He said, "It's me. I'm here, it's me." But, there's people that It spooked me. But you know, in like the book of Revelations, you read about all these different creatures that are in heaven, and I'd have to look it up to tell you what it is. But right now I'm driving, but there's several different creatures that the book of Revelation speaks of. Then you know, people claim to see UFOs and stuff like that. I've not seen any, but for me to say that there's no living being other than humans in the universe, with the universe as massive as it is, it's so large that we cannot even fathom the size of it. And to say that we're the only living creatures in the universe, that's kind of arrogant. I do believe that there are, not that I have seen them, but my line of thinking is they may or may not be more advanced than we are. Who's to say that one civilization out there could be 1,000 years behind what we are, or another civilization could be 1,000 years ahead of what we are? We don't know. Well, I guess some people say that they know, but we don't know what the other civilizations might have. But I think it'd be pretty interesting to be able to meet or speak with some of these beings from other planets. And you know, another thing I was thinking about was, you know, with the angels, who's to say that the angels do not stop at different planets? God has sent His angels to Earth. We don't know how they made the trip from heaven to Earth. We don't know if it's like, you know, Star Trek going, beam me down, Scotty, you know, and poof, they're there, or if they have some sort of means of transportation to go from heaven to Earth. You know, it's one of them things that they very well could be traveling in crafts that are considered UFOs. I don't know how to explain it, you know. I think it was Ezekiel in the Old Testament was taken up in what he was described as a chariot in the sky, or a chariot wheel. It was a chariot. It looked like a chariot wheel. That very well could be a disc-shaped UFO. I don't know. That's the only way I can explain it, is that what they thought of as a chariot wheel, it resembled what a chariot wheel would look like, but it was an actual UFO in the sky. So, anyway, yeah, that's some of my thoughts. But I figured y'all would like to see my drive home. I know my windshield's a little on the dirty side, but yeah, you kind of see why I say I'm an open-minded Christian, because I believe in God. I believe Jesus came to earth and all that. I just believe in the supernatural as well. So hopefully I didn't ramble too much for y'all today. Those are just some thoughts I had on my mind. So I hope y'all have a good day. Talk to you later. Bye.